Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we are talking about the Nashville Predators, one of the teams that are going into the Stanley Cup playoffs, and this is a team that I think is a interesting circumstance of where the playoffs is a different kind of game. Because this is the team, the Predators, currently in the first wild card spot, is going to end up there. And is a team that I much prefer, kind of like the New York Islanders, where I much rather see how good they do in the playoffs than in the regular season. Because this is a team that is very well rounded, very well put together as a team. A lot of rolling lines, maybe not the biggest superstars to keep putting like 150 points on the board. Maybe not the best one shutdown defenseman that can pair up against one line at a time or something like this. This is a team that is much more well-rounded to play those deep, long games and keep going and going and going. And that is why I think the Nashville Predators, that it wouldn't be crazy to say, is one of the best picks for a dark horse candidate to have a somewhat, not quite the Florida Panthers, but a Seattle Kraken kind of run as a dark horse candidate, as a team that can knock out another team and maybe drag another one through a good series, but will eventually lose and not win the Stanley Cup. So let me explain. So like Seattle last year, take a look at Seattle, right? A team that was definitely regarded as a team with 4 second lines, a team that had solid, not the best defense in the world, but defense that can definitely contend and keep can pass as long as all the other parts of a team work. And goaltending that was iffy, but then in the playoffs it definitely showed that they were not iffy with Grubauer playing out of his mind. But the Nashville Predators feel like they have all of those elements and better, right? So first off, 3 solid offensive lines after the first line, right? They just keep going on and on and on, right? The first line, especially when it comes to having top performers, that line of Nyquist, Ryan O'Reilly, and Philip Forsberg, that line just is just, for some reason, I don't want to say magic as the best line in the league, but it just is a very, very good line. Especially just guys having their great years, Gustav Nyquist's amazing season he's having, Philip Forsberg being on another level this season, and Ryan O'Reilly and especially O'Reilly going into the playoffs. He is a playoff kind of guy, and that's why I like the Predators all around, because this is a team that feels like they're way more built for a playoff run, right? And especially with their acquisitions of guys like Zucker to this team that was already stacked offensively. Not stacked. I don't want to say stacked because that would be the Stars, the Panthers. This team is just very deep, right? Each line they can keep rolling out there feels like they're going to be able to score a goal. And since a lot of the guys are younger on the team, guys like Evangelista are going to be on the ice playing in the playoffs and are going to go I'm going to score a goal. God damn it. I'm going out here. I'm playing for my first time in the career in the playoffs. And I really, really like who they're going to play off in the first round. And I'll get there in a second. But other mentions. Defense, once again, is very strong and very competent, especially with guys like Tyson Barrie playing amazing, actually defensive this season. Roman Josi is a hell of a good defenseman, especially an underrated one. People just always just kind of wipe Roman Josi away, and I don't know why. It's strange. But Josi and Hedman, not Hedman so much because he just is undeniable, but Josi does not get the recognition like Kucherov, I would say, that he really deserves. And the defense all around this, very solid. Definitely not the best, but what is padding it is Juuse Saros in the back. And Kevin Lankinen. Those 2 goaltenders back-to-back, and especially Saros, I really like. Just the defense, the goaltending, the top-end performers, and the depth of this team. They have all the beats down. And then when it comes to those other playoff factors, fight and grit, right? You got, O'Reilly. You have guys like Colton Sissons on this team. A lot of the young guys want to be kind of bruisers on the team. And it's Smashville, right? This team already has, a built-in, code to be, a hard-hitting team, right? That is just part of this team's identity at this point. And for me, it's they have all the pieces to the puzzle to be a team to knock out maybe one or two guys from the playoffs. So let's look at their first round matchup, right? Right now, I'm pretty certain that they're going to play the Vancouver Canucks. I know it's not like actually like done and like said, all said and done, but the first round has got to be Vancouver. It's got to be. And to me, this feels like the matchup of like Seattle versus Avalanche. Felt like last season where the Avs were just really relying on Makar, McKinnon, and Rantanen as just guys out there. Because I kept saying it every single game, and you just watch that series between Seattle and the Avs. Seattle, sure, when Makar, Rantanen, or Makar were on the, McKinnon, Makar, or Rantanen were on the ice, Seattle was way out of their league. But then the second those three guys were not on the ice, the Avs looked they did not look like a team called the Avalanche. They looked like a bunch of guys from like the San Jose Sharks this season, right? And the Seattle Kraken walked all over them, were able to score goals, keep the pressure going, and then they just needed to survive McKinnon, Makar, and Rantanen, and they did. This feels like the same situation, but a little bit less than that. Vancouver's under a lot of scrutiny for not being the best against playoff teams, and Nashville has been pretty hot as of late. And when it comes to a team that like feels like they're not really ready for the playoffs, maybe kind of have cooled down and not in that same stage, and you can bring up the season series all you want. Sure, Vancouver beat them 3-0 during the season series against Nashville, but two of those games were in October, the beginning month of the season, and the third one was in December, which was a couple months ago. So I really wouldn't base my theories off of the season series. That was a while ago, and Nashville has certainly turned things around, and Vancouver has turned things around since then. So yeah, for me, I think the Predators, if they put up a strong game and they have those guys, and also I want to mention the momentum that a team like Nashville brings, right? Because that's another thing people don't think about. We think of a team like a team, say, blah, 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 a team that just wouldn't really get, like the Florida Panthers, right? Sure, last year, like, the fans were pretty fun, but it isn't like Vegas. Teams like Vegas, team like Nashville, teams like Carolina, teams like Toronto, like, the momentum that these teams can get from their fans and the momentum that these type of crowds get, Smashville is one of those audiences. And for them to go up against a team like Vancouver, and in the first game they go out there and a guy like Evangelistic is like, I'm going in. I'm going to score a goal. And his first shift on the ice, he goes down, makes like one little move, just rips it on net, blocker save by Demko, and then just a guy just shoves it in the back of the net. You know how electric the crowd's going to get, and immediately Vancouver, guys like Peterson, however you want to say it, Miller, all those, Quinn Hughes, Demko, like all those guys who aren't really, I know they've been in the playoffs before, but it's been a couple of years now. It was really their first go at it. Like, this is their first true run in the playoffs for Vancouver. And they get rattled by some of the veterans that this team has and the fight that guys like Ryan O'Reilly and Forsberg are going to put up. I think Nashville has a very good chance of knocking out a team like Vancouver. Then things get interesting. Because if they go up against another Canadian team like the Oilers, I'm like, if McDavid can get enough goals against Josi Saros, and if the top six of Edmonton with Henrique and Nugent Hopkins on the second line, Evander Kane, if they can jump in on the scoring, then yes, Edmonton should be able to walk over them because they have the fight. We've seen it in Edmonton in the past, unlike Vancouver, where Edmonton has that believability to them. They have that experience that you can believe that those guys can show up and that they can get the job done against a team like Nashville. But if they don't, and this is a year where guys like Kane don't get those 9 goals in a season, in a series or something, where Nugent Hopkins kind of evaporates in the background, and really it's just down to like Hyman feeding the net, where Saros is just like getting all those like in close shots, just feeds for Hyman, and guys like, you don't think guys like Tyson Barrie and McDonough are going to just be all over Zach Hyman and not letting him do that. And I know it's like, sure, all season, like, teams probably picked up on what they're doing there. But in a series like that, I don't know. I don't think the effectiveness of that kind of play of Hyman and McDavid's going to work as clutch as they would like it to be. So to me, it's interesting. Where the Oilers, I don't know if they can get past them. But for Vegas especially, Vegas is the team to go on that next round. I don't know. I definitely don't think I feel like the Predators and Vegas are similar. It's just where it's like the depth and the all-around capability of the team is just heightened and better for Vegas. I mean, it's even like in their colors, right? Like where Nashville has like that gold and yellow, Vegas literally wears gold. So to me, it's just like everything is heightened in Vegas. The momentum type stuff, the better in Vegas. To me, Vegas would knock them out. And then the Western Conference Finals, if somehow if they get paired up against like Edmonton and they can get past those two Canadian teams, then they get to like Dallas and the Avalanche. Unless it's like a Florida type series where, and I didn't mean to put the Avalanche, I meant to put the Winnipeg Jets, but whatever. Like if they're able to go up against a series like that is when I'm like, okay, the line is drawn, right? Like, this is when the big guys are going to go into play and really show who's boss. And to me, I don't see them passing them unless it's like a Florida-type run where Dallas just can't get anything going against Josi. Saros is just playing like a god, and all they need is Forsberg to score a couple good goals in the back of the net. Other than that, I think they're knocked out by the Western Conference Finals. And if they somehow get to the finals, I just don't see it. They're just not doing it. So for me, overall, for the Nashville Predators, dark horse to be a good knockout team, to knock out like a couple surprising teams and show like who the true fugazi teams are in the playoffs. Like for like example, Vancouver, like Edmonton this season, not all the time, but a team to knock them out like in the East, where like Columbus has knocked out a couple teams, right? Where in the past, where it's where like Florida knocks out like the Toronto Maple Leafs, where they're just knocking out teams that just truly do not deserve to be there, right? And to me, I think Predators are a perfect example of a team to knock out a team that isn't ready like Vancouver, knock out a team like Edmonton who just truly isn't ready for a playoff run this season and didn't really do much to fix those issues, but then get knocked out by a big boy like Vegas, like Dallas, or especially whoever they face off if they make it to the finals. So to me, Nashville will be a hell of a matchup. I really think they get past round one against Vancouver. I'm pretty sure they'll play Vancouver. And other than that, it would be tough, but I think this is a Seattle situation where they get past a top dog in the first round and then they get knocked out, depending on who it is. So that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching this. If you've made it this far, please, I'm begging you, please subscribe. Just please. And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.